Pretty girls shouldn't date broke men. You said that? Yes, I said that. And let's get into why pretty girls can't afford to date broke, dusty men. First and foremost, you might say, well, just because they're broke doesn't mean they don't deserve love. Well, that's the lie that they have sold you so that you use your energy, you use your labor, you use your femininity on them so that they can build themselves up, so that they can actually afford the woman that they want, okay? The whole, well, what about broke men? Don't broke men deserve love? Don't all men deserve love? Don't all women deserve love? We don't talk about that because you know what? A woman is always valuable. And when you see this title, you might wonder, well, what if I'm not a pretty girl? You are a pretty girl. The only reason you probably don't feel like a pretty girl, you probably don't own being a pretty girl, is because you have been energy ciphered by people that want you to believe that you need to have so much empathy and sympathy and put all of your energy into people that are not going to level themselves up. They're just going to take your energy and take and take and take till they can't take no more, so that you're left on the bottom of the barrel, literally crying, feeling like everything is going wrong, and you can't understand. You put all of your good energy into a man. You put all of your energy into helping a man out. You supported him. You supported him both financially and with yourself. Your everything. You know what I mean? And now you're like, why am I not getting any reciprocation? Why did he leave me? Why did this and this and that? This is the exact thing that broke men do to women, because they clock that if they can use this whole idea of love to sell women an idea that we're gonna live happily ever after and jump up and down a field and sing with the animals, then women are more likely to put in time and time and time. And then when they're in deep enough, then they're not going to let go, because women have a tendency to believe in what's called the sunk cost fallacy, which is, oh, I've already invested so much time in this man, so why should I leave now? I can't leave now. What if it turns out really, really good? I'm going to date him, because what if he becomes a millionaire in a couple years? What if he this and this and that? Girl, if he's broke, he can't even take out $500 from the ATM. How do you think that you making him food, you literally like serving this man, is going to make him want to do more? It's not going to make him want to do more, because he knows that he can get everything that he wants without having to do anything. And all of this energy, all of this potential that you're pouring into the man, you should be pouring all of that into yourself, so you can actually magnetize your own pretty privilege. You can magnetize your own self-worth. You can magnetize your energy. When you pour into yourself, when you take all of the energy that you've been used to spending on a man, trying to hype him up, build his potential, then suddenly you'll be left with a gap. First and foremost, you're going to feel like, ooh, what am I going to do? I'm going to go out and seek validation, because that's the natural thing that us women have been raised to do. As soon as something is like, as soon as we have a little extra, which is what we're supposed to have, we've been guilt tripped by society into believing that we need to give. It's like, as soon as we get a comfortable relationship with ourselves, then, ooh, well, why don't you go share it? Now you're selfish. Now you're narcissistic. Now, why don't you go out and help other people? You're a little selfish. You know, oh, you think you're all that, huh? Women are guilt tripped by putting effort into themselves, because society, which is based on patriarchy, knows that if they can get women to feel guilty about pouring energy into themselves, they are going to literally try to leverage that energy for attention from men. That's why it doesn't feel natural for a lot of women to actually hold your own energy, stand your ground, say, I want more, I don't deserve this little. Because usually we're not really raised to have that idea about ourselves. Where women actually have access to their own money, where they can actually go out and build their own life, and they actually don't need no man. The whole brains matter more than beauty is actually something that women are fed to make them do more, to prove themselves, to prove that they're woman or person enough. Because men have clocked that now they've given us the right to be able to do whatever it is we want to do. In order for us not to be too out of control, in order for us not to take too much charge of our own lives and actually figure out that we don't need men for anything, they're gonna guilt trip us into believe that being a woman means doing so much for other people, and it means proving that you're extremely smart. Because when you prove that you're extremely smart, like, look at me, I get A's, look at me, I know all of this and all of that, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I know how to change a tire, I know how to open a jar of pickles, I know how to do this and this and that. The men have clocked that means that we're going to be doing it for them to prove to them that we can do it right. Essentially, this is exactly where weaponized incompetence stems from. They started with the whole brains matter more than beauty. Oh, they say a woman's worth can't be based on just her existence. She needs to bring something to the table as well. Especially if you're a woman who's very conventionally attractive, you will trigger men that are not willing to step into a provider role. And what they will do is that they will start feeding you this, brains matter more than beauty, and I don't know why you're putting all of that makeup in your face, or why you're so focused on your looks. You look beautiful naturally, and you don't need to do all of this, and I don't want you to do all of this, and you shouldn't wear that going out, and whatever. That's what they're triggered to start saying by the fact that we actually understand that our value is inherent, aka we are actually valuable just by existing, women. Because first and foremost, there would be no human civilization without us, which means we carry a specific weight of energy. Yes, girl, clock that. But the incel men, because there are good men out there, believe it or not, even though we talk a lot of smack on this channel, there are great men out there, but we're warning you against all the bad ones and which ones you're not supposed to deal with. Anyways, if you wanna talk about good men, write it in the comment section. Write whatever it is you want me to talk about. Because women have gained independence, gained access to actually pour energy into themselves and not have to rely on someone else, suddenly the way that they make us rely on someone else is by turning the tables and saying, well, you're not that beautiful, and brains and what you bring to the table matter more. Because that way we get caught up in this cycle of trying to prove ourselves again. So we end up cycling right back into this whole idea that we are dependent on someone. And you know what these men will always say when you start understanding your own value, and women especially clock that they're not willing to be a mother, maid, servant, and everything to a man and do 50-50 and raise his children and literally end up feeling like you hate yourself. They're not willing to do that anymore. And now they're like, you know what? I'm not going to do coffee dates. I'm not going to do walking dates. I'm going to expect more. Suddenly the men are like, oh, what about equality? You wanted equality. First and foremost, I'm going to say this very, very out loud. I don't believe in 50-50, but I also don't believe in equality. And how does that work? Well, first and foremost, equality is a lie that we've been sold up front by men and patriarchy that is still very much rampant. If you have never read Animal Farm by George Orwell, I will very much recommend you to do so, because this will give you a specific perspective on what it is that we're about to talk about. Us women, we have been given this idea that we have been liberated. Oh, we have voting rights. Oh, we have our own money. We can go to work. And up front, those seem like absolutely amazing things, and they also are. But when you've never really had true equality, when you've actually never known what it feels like not to be ruled by patriarchy, because mind you, even if you have voting rights, even if you have birth control, even if you have the right to have a job, the right to your own money, patriarchy has never not existed, at least not in my lifetime or my mom's lifetime or my grandma's lifetime or back and back and back. Which means this whole idea of equality that we've been fed is just a word that's been slapped onto our mindsets to make us believe. It's to make us believe that we are all the same now. But if you've read Animal Farm, you also know that it does say in that book, and if you haven't read it, spoiler alert, in the beginning, when the animals gain their independence from the farmer, aka this can kind of signify when we thought we were given equality, they all paint on the barn something saying all animals are equal. And as time goes on, the animals do believe that they're equal, even though the pigs move into the old farmhouse and they start controlling it and they make it seem, oh, we're still equal, we're still equal, while in reality, they're given less and less and less. And in the end of the book, it says on the barn, where it says all animals are equal, it actually says all animals are equal except for some that are more equal than others. This is exactly the lie that patriarchy has sold women to make us believe that we have more freedom than ever, when we are told and we are guilt-tripped into believing that being a free woman means doing more, means going 50-50, means taking care of the children, means doing labor in many ways, you know what I mean, for a man. And supposedly we're equal because you can go to work and he can go to work, but at the same time, you have responsibilities that he doesn't take upon himself. That is exactly the quote, all the animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. In this case, it's just all humans are equal, but some humans are more equal than others. And this is why men try to sell you this idea that equality means 50-50. It means literally pouring all of your money and your soul into a relationship to be left with nothing, because women are so bound to this moral, beautiful idea of equality that we've been sold, we've been promised. They talk about it all the time. Brains matter more than beauty. We're all equal. What do you bring to the table? We should all bring something so that the fairy tale is kept alive. The fire still seems to be burning, but in reality, we're out in the cold, hallucinating it. And if you stay out in the cold too long, you will get frostbite. And this is exactly the reason why beautiful women, beautiful does not mean being a supermodel. Beautiful means you put your energy back into yourself. It means putting effort into yourself. It means showing up for yourself. It means setting boundaries. That's what being a beautiful woman means. That's what being a pretty girl means. Beautiful women can't afford to date broke men. They shouldn't date broke men because broke men are not in a position to be able to pour into you so that you can pour energy into yourself, which means they will reinforce the idea, either subconsciously or very consciously, probably without you knowing even. They will make you believe that you are all equal, that you're all the same, and you're gonna get a lot out of this relationship just so that you waste your precious time and your energy catering to someone who's not going to give you that energy back ever. And that is exactly how you as a woman lose your pretty privilege, lose your beauty, lose your energy and your essence. It is through believing in, first and foremost, the lie of equality. I recently made a video on my Instagram where I said propaganda I'm not falling for, and one of them was equality, and another one was 50-50. And I remember people in the comment section saying, like, what team are you on? And I'm on my team. I'm on my team. I don't believe in equality because I do believe in equity. I don't believe that we can be equal in a society where we've never actually understood what the idea of equality truly means. We don't have a perspective on that. We don't have a perspective on that. So how are we gonna ever be able to deem what is truly equality? No, we need more. We deserve more. Yeah. So that also means that 50-50. 50-50 where? 50-50 and equality don't go hand in hand. Because the same way that equality is something that is just a word, it's just something like a spoken word that it's like, ooh, a word, equality, ooh, he likes equality, ooh. 50-50 is another way of saying, well, I want you to believe that we have equality. That's the exact same thing. It's, I want you to believe that we have the same inherent value. And I'm not saying that men are not valuable. I'm just saying that there's a reason why men seek, idolize, hate women the way that they do. There's a reason why the statistics of men doing bad things versus women doing bad things is the way that it is, especially towards women. They can't live without us. We can live without them. That's exactly why they're trying to feed us this 50-50. Because they don't want you to step into your true power. They don't actually want you to step into your true relaxation, feminine energy. They want you to be in your masculine energy because that way they can control you easier because you're going to be more prone to breaking down. And you're going to be more prone to trying to do everything for your man to make everything work out because you've put a lot of energy into it. Literal physical energy like money. That's an energy. That's how they trap you while they untrap themselves because now you're paying half the bills. You're doing more than half the labor. Let's be honest. And at the same time, he has the space for him to be able to go out and build himself up in the meantime so that he is actually going to be better off and he's going to be able to afford his dream girl. Because men know that women deserve more. Men know this. And the only way that they feel, the weak men, we're not talking about the good men here. We're talking about the weak men. The weak men, the broke mindset men, because it's always the broke mindset men who are also broke like this. The broke mindset men, they think that they need another woman to build them up so that they can get to the woman that they truly want to get to. They don't believe in building themselves up. That's why we have all of these men on podcasts that are talking about women's purity. But we're never talking about how men should keep themselves pure and focus on their mission and build themselves up and like be able to afford more than a McDonald's combo as a date. Weak men love recruiting women as partners to build them up. That's why the most feminine men get the most masculine women that are willing to do everything. They usually also get the most broken women, the women that have been through the most, that have, childhood wounds, father wounds, whatever it is they go through, because these women are willing to put their life on the line in order for them to get a relationship or a secure bond. And this way, this man is like, okay, this is the woman I'm going to pick for now, and she's going to help me grow and grow and grow. Not growth like becoming a better person, but become the new model so that he can go and he can ruin some other girl's life. Because you know what? That girl that he truly wants, first and foremost, both of y'all are out of his league. Both of you are out of his league. But he just sees that the girl with the masculine tendencies, her boundaries are probably not as strong, and her willingness to invest a lot without getting any return is more likely. While his dream girl, she is going to be much firmer on her boundaries. She's going to be expecting more. Men know that women deserve and they want more. Men know that women don't deserve 50-50. Men know that women aren't equal to men. Men know that women are above men. Yes. Men know this. That's why they use other women, if they're weak, to get to women. Because they don't have it within themselves to build themselves up, to get to that woman. Because they want to give their dream woman everything that she deserves because she tells people what she deserves. She's clear in the way that she uses her pretty privilege, in the way that she shows up for herself, in the way that she does what she needs to do. She does not compromise. He knows she deserves more. And he wants to give that woman more because he knows he can't date her if he doesn't have more. Men know they can't date a woman who looks expensive because they know they're going to need means. They know they're going to need money. They know they're going to need land, equity, properties, whatever. So what they do is that they use another woman to get there if they're weak. If they're good men, they're going to do whatever it's in their power when they find the right woman to make sure that she is taken care of. And this is exactly how you weed out the men that are worth hanging on to or not. You have to figure out if they're willing to invest in you. Because the more they invest in you, the more they're actually going to let themselves grow to live up to the role of being able to provide peace for you. Because they understand that if they can't provide peace for you through their own peace, through their own stability, then you don't deserve to be in a relationship with them. Weak men will say that you're the problem. Strong men will say, you don't deserve to be with me if I can't help you out. You deserve more. You always deserve better. Because strong men clock that women deserve more. And a man who knows that women deserve more, because all men know that women deserve more, They just don't want to admit it, and that's why they try to use other women to get to the women they want. But the men that are not afraid to realize that, you know, this woman deserves more and I'm gonna take the responsibility, I'm gonna get there, those men, those are the good men. Those men deserve an applause, and they do exist, girly. But your boundaries, your standards, the way you show up for yourself probably isn't strong enough for you to be able to attract someone who's actually willing to invest in you. Just because there's not a man in your life right now does not mean that you are not worthy of everything. That's why exactly you need to give it to yourself. You need to pour into your own pretty privilege. You need to pour into your own energy. So then when you are by yourself, you do feel good. You do feel complete. Because if you do not learn how to channel into your own completeness, your own staying busy, your own focusing on how amazing you are going to get played by this whole equality and 50-50 thing, because you are going to feel guilt if someone does not like you, or if someone does not verbally say to you that they approve of you and you're doing something right. So you'll start chasing, and that's exactly why you're not attracting a man that's actually going to take care of you, because that man who actually wants to take care of you, that man who actually wants to put his energy, his money, his life force into you so you can have the life that you deserve, he does not want a woman who's chasing. He does not want a woman who's chasing, and he does not want a woman who is always talking about wanting all of these things first and foremost. A secure man who's going to give a woman a secure life is a man who will be willing to invest in you, not because you are some complete damsel in distress and you're literally saying, I want a man, I deserve a man, where's my man? But because you are willing to stand up for yourself, you're willing to do what you need to do for yourself, you're willing to go your own, you're willing to be independent, you are willing to, but you are also willing to let yourself be taken care of if you are going to have a man. Because a woman who's saying, you know what, if I have a man, he needs to take care of me. That's the woman who understands this game of equality, because she understands that she could be great just on her own. But if there is going to be a man in the picture, that man is going to have to supply her with more. He's going to have to supply her with more and more and more, because she's not interested in her cup literally being depleted. She wants her cup to be overflowing. And if a man can't help her, if a man can't elevate her, she will not deal with him. And that is exactly what also makes it so important for pretty girls to stop dating broke men. Because these broke men, they think that they're the prize. They think that they're the ones who deserve all of the overflow. But the difference is when a woman's cup overflows, first and foremost, she has enough for herself, and now she can pour into her man. Granted that man is good. And that man's cup is also flowing over. It's flowing over enough so he can pour into her. And now her cup is flowing over so much that she can pour into him. And that's how synergy works. That's how a successful relationship works. But when a man has a broke mindset, when a man believes in scarcity, when a man doesn't think that he can get what he needs by himself, then your overflowing will just always be depleted until you have nothing left, because this man is trying to fill himself. He's trying to, re-energize himself and fill his cup. He wants his cup to be overflowing in order for him to feel like he can give back. But the thing is, his cup will never be overflowing. A broke man's cup, a broke man mentality man's cup will never be overflowing, because that man has not fixed his foundation. The foundation of the cup will always be leaking, so there will never be enough. It will always just flood out, and then you'll be left pouring and pouring in. It's kind of like pouring water into a swimming pool that has a hole in it, like one of those like plastic swimming pools. Like the water is going to flow out and you're wondering why you're never going to get any reciprocation. It's because there's a hole. There's something they haven't fixed, and that's not for you to fix. But you have to be very aware of it, because you're going to be pouring and pouring and pouring, and it's going to be hard. When you try to pour water into a swimming pool that has a hole in it, you're going to be walking back and forth, and you're wondering what's going on. I mean, obviously with the swimming pool, you can clock that there's a hole in it. But with a man, you are literally aching your back, overextending yourself, and you're wondering why you're never getting anything back. That man would have poured in you from day one if he had it. And pouring into you doesn't mean buying you Cartier. It doesn't mean buying you Birkins. It means listening, being there, saying, I'm going to take care of something so I can show you that I'm willing to take care. I'm willing to take charge if I need to, so that you can rest your energy, so that when I have my energy and you have your energy, we can have energy together. Feminine energy is literally encompassed by abundance. Feminine energy is abundance. Feminine energy is abundance. And you know what a healthy masculine man has? A healthy masculine one? He has healed his feminine energy, so he understands that first and foremost, there's no need to be on some, I'm a macho man. Look at me, I'm a macho man. And he feels comfortable stepping in to his masculinity because he does not have feminine wounds left. He's actually healed his own feminine so much that his abundance is not a question, it's a mission. Because the reason why all of these broke men are considered very feminine, it's not because they don't have the masculine within them. It's because they haven't healed their feminine. It's because they don't actually feel comfortable facing it. That's why they get so triggered when someone says, you like men or something. They're like, no, I don't like men. But if the most masculine men are also the men that are comfortable with understanding that femininity is abundance, and he needs to actually pour into the feminine. And the only way he can pour into the feminine and actually understand how important the feminine is if he's not afraid to learn from the feminine. That does not mean that he becomes a feminine man. It just means that he is able to clock that femininity is abundance. And in order for him to become an abundant man, he needs to cherish the feminine. That is exactly why when you see like a rich dude with a really, really beautiful feminine looking woman, it's because he understands that in order for him to get that value of the femininity, of the abundance, he needs to be able to provide for it. He needs to be able to let it grow. You can't grow a whole garden of roses if you just pluck the rose and let it sit in a vase. The rose is going to die. No, you need to nurture the rose. You need to nurture the whole bed of roses. That's what an abundant man understands. And that is also why we have to understand that broke men actually get something out of having beautiful women on their arm, because they get leverage in society, because it makes them seem like they've actually handled whatever they need to handle. But in reality, they're just a cup that does not have any bottom in it, and all of the water is going to flow out because they haven't healed themselves. When you are giving broke men a chance, or giving love to broke men, or hanging around broke men or broke mentality people in general, you are actually giving them value. You are giving them value. You are actually pouring out of your own cup. And this is why if you stay around them for too long, suddenly your cup's not going to be looking so abundant anymore. He hasn't filled that gap. He hasn't fixed the hole in his swimming pool. So you're going to be the one who's trying to fill it. With your feminine energy, he clocks that. He wants that energy because he hasn't healed it. That is why these feminine men are looking for women to elevate them, because they don't look within themselves. They don't think that they have everything within themselves, so they look outside. That's why they bring up 50-50. That's why they bring up, what do you bring to the table? That's why they bring up this and this and that, because they don't believe that they're enough by themselves. So they're looking for someone to give them more. And if you don't heal what's in yourself, then you're never going to actually be able to hold that more. That's why when a beautiful woman enters into a relationship with a man who has a broke mentality and maybe is also broke like this, she will become less beautiful over time, because he will literally energy cipher her. And he will use her pretty privilege as currency until he has no more. Like someone who becomes a millionaire and uses every little cent, every dollar like this. Because they don't know how to handle that energy. They don't know how to handle the energy of femininity, the energy of abundance. They don't believe that they're abundant themselves, so they don't know what abundance means. The same way that we women don't know what equality means, because we've never faced equality. Equality has never existed in our lifetime. The broke mentality men don't know what abundance means, which is why they don't know how to handle it. And which is why they're going to deplete it and deplete it and deplete it until you're left wondering, what went wrong? What did I do wrong? And this is the beautiful tale of why women, beautiful women, can't afford to date broke men.